my friend, it's Pat Sloan here on Saturday. Okay, look. I'm jumping up and down. Oh my goodness, look at this. Look at the jacket. Look at the jacket. When I opened this package, I was like, first of all, Greg brought me a package, says, is this some clothing you ordered? And I'm like thinking, I didn't order any clothing. So I opened it and I'm like, ah! And this this is the blue version of the beige or the off-white that I was wearing of the patchwork, printed patchwork. See, it's printed patchwork that came out as a jacket that came out at Target in 2021 in the fall. So it was like, a year and a half ago. But Suzanne, our ambassador, had an extra that I now have. Thank you. I'm just so excited. Oh, it's so great. Then I can wear the light one in the spring, and I wear this one in the fall, in the winter. Oh, perfect. It's perfect. Okay, we have Saturday Sweep Up, which is organization and a few other things. But first, I want to do a shout out and a huge thank you to all of you who are in my Facebook community. We have hit over 300,000 of you. Yay! Cue the confetti. That is an exciting number. I have the largest community of quilters on Facebook. It's all due to you and you. Just so exciting. It is an international community. We have quilters from around the world who come and share what they're working on, share the projects you're working on of mine, ask questions, help each other, just talk through life as a quilter. It is so much fun. Now, if you're not on Facebook, you can join at any time and just do the quilting. Yeah, why are you missing out? Why? Yeah, but I've been in online communities since they existed. Started about in 1998 with the first online communities I was in. So I totally love them. They are amazing because you can share photos, something you just can't do in most other communities, platforms. You just can't share photos right there with a whole big group of people. Okay, so thank you for making that happen and being part of such a lovely, warm, amazing group. And I also want to thank my ambassador team because they help run that group. They answer your questions, they approve the posts, they monitor things because sometimes conversations go off the rails. And they just either bring it back or we just delete those things that have sort of gone off track, meaning that they might be gone on to something not entirely even related to quilting for some unknown reason, and people just keep talking on that topic. So anyways, that's what I mean by off track. Or there's sometimes people get negative. I mean, it happens when you have a community of 300,000 people. That is the size of a city. So I'm like the mayor of the city. I'm also the garbage man of the city, I have to do all of it. And my ambassadors help make everything run smoothly, and so it is a very safe, relatively spam-free environment. You can't be 100% spam-free, but it is relatively spam-free. There's very little that gets in. We have lots of controls so that we can block things by terminology, and Facebook also has very strong controls to block things. All right, so I have gone on and on about that because it is exciting. It is a huge part of my life, my community, and all of you that are there. So, I want to celebrate everybody who shares there. Mwah. Okay, let's first look at something that I worked on. I showed you this yesterday. This is called a social tote. It is by Carolyn Friedlander, a pattern. You can get a PDF download. You purchase from her in the link is in the description box today. It was in yesterday's when I showed this. And I emptied it out and I got it pretty clean. I still have to go in the corners a bit. There's still a little dust in the corners. But what I used was a roller lint. First, I just went over everything, like the handles, which got dusty, and then I just popped this stuff out like this, and then just went around everything. The problem is the little ones, the little pockets, and so there I took some tape and just see it's all dusty, and I just went with my fingers so that I can get right in those corners. But I need to do more of these, a couple more, but it is pretty darn good. It is pretty darn lint free. My friend Lena made this for me in 2013 for my birthday. And it is still in great shape. I mean, I do use it, like I said, I used it heavily for a long time. In the last couple of years, because it's handwork stuff, I've kept this parts of the things out, but hadn't been really utilizing the basket. So I am going to rethink where I have it and how I'm using it right now. All right, I have got organization today is books, and I'm going to look through my solid fabrics, and I'm going to do that with you. My books are set right now. I'm going to show you one of my shelves, show you just, how much I have on that one. I'm not decluttering any books. My books have been done for a while right now. I probably could go through and get rid of maybe 10 or 15, but I am not in the mode to do that. Really, I want to focus on fabric. The book levels are kind of stable, and I'm happy with them. So first, let's take a look at this. This is one bookcase, which I've had this bookcase forever. I think Greg built the bookcase years ago. It's had all kinds of things on it. So right now, this one is the one I can access the most. Those are not quilt books, but everything up here, and a bit of that is not. Up here, quilt books. Some of them are mine. Most are not. Mine are, some of my current ones are there. Other ones are stored in the hallway, just a little section in the hallway. And then I have another, about the same amount that's on here, on 2 low bookcases in the storage area. The other bookshelves I have are like taking that one kind of and making them low, so that, and they're like side by side. So it's probably a little bit more than that I still have of books. So about twice, a little more than twice that much is what I have. On that bookshelf there are a lot of self-published books, and so they were never PDFs. They won't ever be PDFs. Some of the authors have passed away. Some have totally left, retired, and so I'm keeping them because they have inspired me, and those people put a lot of work into it, and I've enjoyed those books. Even like to go back and look through them. Eventually, someday they'll have to go to new homes because you downsize. Probably, who knows? I may have to downsize to a smaller space someday, but they're set for now. Okay, the other thing I want to do is go through my solid fabrics, because I know that I have these 2 big baskets of them, and anyways, let's just look and I'll show you what I'm going to do. We're going to go that on the other side of the table. Okay, here we go. I've got solids in here, plus I have these which were put out a long time ago, which are the Moda solid colors that I use for matching fabrics, and they did one for the grunge. So like I said, these were years ago. You might still find one like on a reseller, but now they have this, which you can get right now, and this is just the solids, but it is only like $8 right now on sale, and I know there's only about 50 of them, and so you really, really, really should order one of these if you don't have it. It is a fabulous tool. Okay, so I've got this to look through and in here to look through. And what I'm going to do is decide if there are small pieces like this, things that are a little bit smaller. I've got this, which these were done for a workshop, and they were all pre-cut. And of course, when you do a workshop, this is particularly, it was at the trade show, so we did a lot of extra, and I've been using them, but I'm not going to keep them anymore. These will all go to the charity group to work with. So all these smaller pieces, like this is smaller, but anything that I find that's more like yardage, I'm going to keep those and then just see how many, because if you will look, these are different shades of teal, but look how many, just look at that. So I have quite a few that some are darker, they are different, and I do like that. So we'll see how much I get rid of if I keep them all. And then over here, it's a lot of white. There, you can see it. The whites, the off-whites, sort of gray color. Then I have a massive amount of peach, which I think I have used this peach several times. I don't know, I think I had a whole bolt of it. probably, once again, was probably something, that I was using for an event, and we just get it from the manufacturer. So I think this is all going to go to the charity, because it definitely would make a beautiful backing. And also, like I've been showing you, I've been trying to show you how you can mix in your solids with your prints so that you can sort of extend the life of your print fabric by using solids. And it's a fun way to play. But I do not need 2 containers of this, because I don't do that much. And they're big pieces, like 3 yards, 5 yards, even some of them. I think most of them are like 2 to 3 yards, or the ones I'll be keeping. Yeah. So this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to try to get it down to just this basket, which sits on the bottom, the smaller one, which is, if you've noted, a Longenberger. This is a Longenberger picnic basket. That'll sit on the top. This is just a vintage basket here. Something I bought in my travels. Okay, so that is my second organization thing for today. So I will go through these because it's been on my list. So if you have a fabric thing, if you're not doing your books, so if you have a fabric thing like me, like you're still working through different parts of your fabric collection, trying to organize it, be sure it's all together, it's tidy, it's folded, and then if you feel the need to have less of a certain type of fabric, you can collect that out to be given to charity. Okay, or friends, or sell. You don't have to give it, you can sell it, on different places. So anyway, so let's go back to the other side of the table, and this will be what I work on. Now, I want to tell you about the gnomes. The gnomes. They are, I had a few questions as to what are the gnomes about, so if you are new to my channel or have not been following very much, maybe you just only follow a day here, a day there, and you don't watch all of the videos, then you may have missed that several months ago, and over the past, first of all, it started for a few years, I had this gnome hanging in the studio, just like I have Dalai Lama and Flo the flamingo there. The gnome hung here, and he was kind of a mascot. And if you're on the morning chat, people would talk about Norm, and I moved him around. His name was Norm the Gnome, and moved him around. These are all Elizabeth Hartman patterns. So eventually I thought it would be fun to send Norm on tour, kind of like a flat Stanley, send him on tour to the ambassadors and a few of my friends. And so that started. And it takes a little while to get to people, then they have life things, and so it doesn't always, you can't always do things with these gnomes right away. And so right now they are with our ambassador Bobby, and it's just a fun way for all of us to just see and be creative in a different way. Be creative with these guys. They're going to quilt shops, and they were at the Fat Quarter Shop. Norm met Nanette and got married in Australia. Our ambassador Kendall actually sewed Nanette, and then they visited my friend Jane, and she sewed Baby Bob. That kind of a thing. It's just a way to have some fun, because quilting should be fun. And I have another clip of some of the things that they have done. The first full day, Bobby decided to take them to some fun things, local things that she and her husband like to do. So first they went to the local quilt shop, So Much More, and there they were welcomed as world travelers. They had to watch Nanette, though. Nanette was into all the machinery, checking it out. I assume she's going to be buying things and having them shipped home, because she's really been checking out all this long arms and sewing machines. So Bobby and Norm took charge of Baby Bob, and Bobby said he just moves fast. So they lost track of him once. He was over in the cuddle fabric, and then she and Norm were sitting and chatting, and then all of a sudden they couldn't find Baby Bob. And where is he? He's in the thread drawer. So and he's little. Now, Bobby is very experienced. She has twin grandchildren who are quite young, so she's used to chasing around little kids. After that, they decided to go check out the Harley Davidson showroom in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Harley Davidson, because they're big up there on the Harleys. The family that owns that was very nice. The people were very nice to let them tour through the shop with the Gnome family. So there you can see them on the motorcycles. Maybe they're going to, maybe Nanette's going to order one of those and ship them home as well. And all the accessories. So they took a little rest there. Anyways, they did have a fabulous time with Bobby. Isn't that great? I mean, I don't know if you've ever done something like that. I've seen lots of people taking a little mascot of some sort on their vacations and taking pictures of it, different places. And so it is just a cool, fun thing to do. And I appreciate all of the ambassadors who can participate. So you're going to see more. They'll visit a few more of the ambassadors. This will probably end about maybe April. End of April is kind of what we're shooting for, beginning of May at the very latest. So and there'll be gaps here while they have to travel and get to people, and so very, very fun. I want to show you this fantastic idea of ruler storage that Peg from our Facebook group, see, this is why you should be in the Facebook group. There's so much good information. She shared this awesome idea. She has this folding screen and they put a pegboard in it, so it looks like they popped out whatever was in the folding screen. You know how sometimes they have fabric, sometimes they're a board, like a press board or printed on, but she popped whatever that was out or overlaid it with pegboard, and then it looks like she painted it. Isn't that fantastic? I want one of those now. Now I want one of those. I have no room for that. But the ambassador group, we were also discussing those would be super cool if it folded up and you could like store it. Like if it were a bit more dimensional so that you had some sort of thing that you could fold up. I love that it's pretty. You know me, everything has to be pretty. So I love how it's scalloped on the top. Anyways, thank you, Pam, for sharing that with us. And I have a link down below in the description box if you want to go over and look at the picture at my Facebook group. Okay, a couple Q&As. Susan wanted to know how I hang quilts on the front door. I have a screw on the front door, and I put a dowel rod through the quilt and then hang the dowel rod with a string over the nail. So I have a nail in my front door. Let's see. Oh, BJ wanted to know, all she said was, what color are you using for accents? This was at YouTube. I'm assuming you mean the Jolly Bar sampler quilt along, just because there were a couple things I talked in that video and that might have been the one. I'm using one of the gray fabrics for the accent. Actually, it's this gray. This gray, because I bought this gray, I used it here and then realized I had bought it for the Jolly Bar, but I had half a yard, so I'm good. Peggy asks, why do I sew, is this a question about beginning and ending fabric when you sew a seam? Okay, so when I sew two squares together, where do I have them? Yeah, so when I'm sewing two squares together to start and stop my seams, I'm making my aqua blocks. She doesn't understand why I do this. She thinks it's a waste of time and a waste of thread. Well, I'm actually making a quilt. This is, Peggy, what I've made so far. I've already made like 3 quilts this way. This is my waste of time and waste of thread. Every time I sew those through, I'm creating blocks from these. And so I don't think it's a waste. Many machines are much happier to have something sort of grab on as you start sewing. I mean, the manufacturers will even suggest that because it keeps your first threads on your good patchwork solid, and they're not maybe maybe more open or loose, which could happen. And some of you have problems maybe if you have an older machine or temperamental one where it might sort of jam maybe a tiny bit as it starts, and so these will help that. A lot of people just use scraps. They'll just run a piece of scrap like this through, which is fine, but wouldn't you rather, as you're doing that, create a beautiful quilt, create blocks to make a beautiful quilt? That would be much, much more fun and not wasteful at all. Denise wanted to know if I would talk about how many machines are necessary. She does love this series, she said. She totally loves it. I totally love it too, Denise. But I can't tell you how many machines are necessary for you. That's your job. Like, I find it necessary to have however many I have. One was a gift, featherweight. I think a lot of us want a featherweight, even if we don't use it. We want it for its history and because it's adorable, and so we could say we have a featherweight. Yeah, okay, being honest. I don't sew on it. I also didn't buy that one, although I have bought one and I sold that one because I didn't use it and somebody wanted it, and so I sold it to them. But some people collect the machines. So just like you asked me, why do I need so many scissors? Some people have the same thing with sewing machines. They have lots of sewing machines. Don't ask us those questions. But you're not asking that. I know that, Denise. You were just wanted to know how many. So take a look at what you own. Does it feel like enough? If you are doing machine embroidery, a lot of people like to have one that just does embroidery, because if you want to sew something else at the same time, those machines can run a while. So you have a second machine for doing patchwork or other things. Okay, and the last thing, a lot of you said that you loved that I said there are other things that we do, life things. You like that I said the word life things that we do, because we are. I'm a person just like you. I don't sit here and sew, 24 hours a day. that would be boring. I have other life things that I do, such as my aunt and uncle are having their 60th wedding anniversary, and I'm going to have dinner with them. They come down from where they live to visit with us here in Virginia. So that is a life thing. The life thing that I'm doing, but it's that's somewhat of a private, personal, family event. It's not like I'm gonna go chat about it all the time, all those things. So all of you also have life things. That's what gets in the way of our sewing sometimes. All right, you're going to do your organizing, whether you are doing your books, which is by and far, every organizer will tell you the books are the hardest thing for people to get rid of. So, if you can't get rid of any you can't, but you can at least organize them and make them tidy and get them all in one place. Or you might do like me and finish up, or not finish, but do another section of your fabric things. Also, this weekend, it is the Lunar New Year, and I am working on my guide. Look at that. I've got the banners in the top, the lanterns with the numbers. I'm getting those done. Look how cute he is. So excited. So I'm definitely going to sort of try to work on this a little bit faster. Don't know if I'll get it done by the end of the month, but I'm going to hang it up and enjoy it. It's pink, so I can have it in February, I think, hanging up. That's a goal, right? It's a goal. All right, I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.